It was quite a big week, actually, for American politics because a number of things all happened in the same week. And we'll start with the impeachment vote and Trump's acquittal. I don't think this was anything that anyone was not expecting because it was kind of telegraphed out in advance. Obviously, it is a political process. It's not like as a criminal sort of a court of law type thing. But the thing that was interesting, I guess the positive aspect, the only thing I can see in terms of helping the Democrats make their case is that they tried to punch it through as quickly as possible. So now they've got a clear run afterwards of just 9 months of just hitting the election cycle thing. They can talk as much as they like about how Trump was wrong. He was in the wrong for doing it. They've got Republicans that are, being quoted as saying that he did something wrong, even though they didn't think it was worth removing him from office. There was that dramatic Mitt Romney speech where he, voted with his conscience. It was good to I actually thought it was good to actually see a variation on that side of the aisle, shall we say? And it was just kind of insane. And I don't know exactly where it goes to from here and what the implications are. I guess we're going to know over the next 9 months what political impact it has on either side of politics over in America.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was interesting, as you say. I always thought it was pointless. And, to be honest, and this is just my personal opinion, but I kind of think that an American on the Ukrainian gas board should be investigated. And that's being apolitical. And, so I didn't actually think that there was much of a case. And we saw it wasn't the case. I don't really understand why Mitt Romney finally found his conscience. As Trump pointed out in his press conference, it's the only time he's ever decided to announce that he has one. So that really didn't make any sense to me unless there's just such bad blood personally between them. And I thought actually it was the first time that Trump hasn't been 100% on the attack in any of these talks. Was it when he gave that press conference post his acquittal? And I just wonder if mentally there's something going on there in the Trump brain. I don't know what you think about that, Ben.
Well, I think
he was hurt. Well, he looked genuinely hurt.
Oh, well, I think that's pretty easy for him to telegraph out to the cameras if he so chooses. But I often wonder whether, I think we were talking about this before, that I wonder if being in that job for the 3 years has affected his sort of instinct, his political instinct in a way, for how to play to the camera, and whether he still has the instinct of knowing whether he's going to win or whether he's going to lose come November. I just wonder exactly if, even for him, if it's gotten out of control, that this has gone way beyond anything that he ever expected, and maybe he feels like he's committed himself down a path so far that's, I guess, outrageous, for lack of a better word, and maybe he thinks that he should only escalate. I mean, look at his reaction after the acquittal. I mean, going to the that national prayer breakfast and essentially claiming that he hates people that who pray for things when they know that they're wrong. Of all people, he's the one lecturing religious people about that. There was a lot of the vitriol that he started to spew against the Democrats afterwards, which they did point out that in like the previous impeachment with Bill Clinton, he actually apologized to the country for any of this actually ever happening in the first place. Trump, of course, famous for never apologizing for anything, was true to form, and just I think he said he apologized for putting that his family had to go through it or something, but he was not apologetic at all about how this whole thing kind of played out. And then there was like that sort of wacky State of the Union address, which again was for the cameras, to more popcorn eating material, where you just sit there and wondering if you're watching a presidential speech or an SNL skit, and particularly with Pelosi ripping his speech up at the end of it, which. To be honest, I did take a bit of pleasure in that, because I just kind of think if, they're supposed to be more serious political sort of processes and events, and he's clearly not doing it seriously at all. And I just wonder if he's actually... I know people have questioned his mental faculties. That's not quite what I meant here. I wonder if his actual judgment for reading the play is actually still on song, and whether it might come back to bite him later in the year at the election.
Well, I reckon you're onto something there, because that was my point about him seeming as if he was hurt. We know that he spews vitriol and he's just visceral in his responses, but he's, up until this point, he's generally been dismissive. So he'll call someone a name, say they're a bad person, and then he moves on. But I noticed that he dwelled on these points, and he went deeper. Normally just gives a soundbite, and it can be nasty, or it can be cold, or it can be aimed at someone personally, but it's a sound bite and he moves on. But this, he seemed to linger on points, point the finger at people, and actually seemed to be giving quite a personal rather than just a sort of veneer.
Yeah.
And so it actually made him, to me, look vulnerable. So maybe there's something in that. Maybe he is wounded. Maybe he is wondering now, after 4 years, what the hell am I doing here?
Yeah.
And maybe he's just sick of it. Maybe not. I mean, maybe he just took the opportunity.
Well, that's the part that I was wondering whether he had it all together. Being in that job might have twisted that calculus for him a little bit, because it's not a regular job after all.
It's not, and it's tough for anyone, whether you're Trump or anyone else. It's a really tough job. So politics aside, and he's, I don't know, how old is he now? Is he 76?
He's got to be mid-70s. I haven't checked, but yeah. It's got a great
workout routine.
Exactly.
Really got a great tan routine.
Yeah, that's right.